Hey, what is up guys? I'm Greg Builds, and welcome to this Minecraft build tutorial. On this episode, we're going to create a huge modern mansion. This mansion has plenty of space, and one of my favorite parts of this build is the central tower at the center, as well as the corner balconies. This build requires a large amount of materials. However, you can make this mansion the center base for your entire Minecraft world. This build is broken down into 9 steps, and without further ado, let's start the build. Also, this mansion is roughly 29 by 24 blocks wide, and it is 14 blocks tall. Now here's a complete list of the materials you'll need to build this house. Now if white concrete is too hard to find and gather, you can replace the concrete with diorite blocks, as it will look just as good as well. Also, this entire build project will require a 29 block area by 24 block area spacing, and I marked my area out with coarse dirt blocks, and you could do the same, that way you know how big the layout is before we start the build. In addition, this build level is rated at an expert level on the Greg Builds building scale. However, even though this design is complex and very large to build, it is a satisfying one. Also, I'll be here step by step to help guide you through this build process, and I'll break it down into easy to follow along steps. Step 1. First, let's create the subframe. We will need 342 stone blocks. At the back left corner, move over 1 space. Then move back an additional 4 more spaces. And we could double check by moving over 1 space, then back 4 more additional spaces. Then let's make a row that is 27 blocks wide, and make sure this row is flush with the ground. Then we can make the side a total of 16 blocks wide, and this will be flush with the ground as well. Then let's connect back around. And that will leave 3 grass blocks of spacing in between the stone and the coarse dirt outline on either side. Next, let's add in the columns. At the back corner of the new stone outline, let's make a stone column 8 blocks tall. Then move back 6 spaces. Then make an 8 tall column on the 6th space back, and now leave 5 blocks of spacing in between the columns. Then make a move back 3 spaces, and now leave 2 blocks of spacing in between the 2 columns. Then we can move back and make another column on the corner of the stone outline. And to double check, there will be 5 blocks of spacing on the columns on the ends, and 2 blocks of spacing in the center section. Then let's repeat the same exact pattern on the other side of the house. To refresh, make a column on the corner of the stone outline. And this will be 8 blocks tall. Then we can leave 5 blocks of spacing. Then make another 8 tall column. Then 2 blocks of spacing, 1 more column, then 5 more blocks of spacing. And we could double check that there's 5 blocks of spacing on the sides, and 2 blocks of spacing in the center. And these columns will line up with the ones across from it. Then we can add in the columns along the back. Leave 4 blocks of spacing, then make an 8 tall column. Then we can leave 2 more blocks of spacing. Then we can move over and do the same, leaving 4 blocks of spacing. Then a column, then 2 blocks of spacing, then another column, and that will leave 9 blocks of spacing in between the center section, as well as 2 spaces on either side after that, and 4 blocks of spacing on the ends. Then we can repeat the same pattern for the front section. Then once completed, let's add a crossbeam that connects at the 4th block up. And then once the columns are connected at the 4th block up, we can do the same at the 8th block up. Step 2. Next was add in the concrete corner towers. We'll need 344 white concrete blocks. Also, if concrete is way too difficult to gather in your survival world, you can use diorite blocks as a replacement, as it will look just as good as well. To start, let's head back to the left corner. Start by placing a white concrete block on the 3rd diagonal space over from the stone column, and that will leave 2 diagonal grass blocks of spacing in between. Then we can raise this column to a total of 10 blocks tall. Then we can add in 4 additional blocks to the side. Then we can add in 4 more additional blocks to the other side as well. And this will cause the white concrete columns to hang past the stone wall by 1 block. Then we can raise the white concrete walls to a total of 10 blocks tall. Also, make sure to fill around the stone crossbeams. And this will be a little tricky in survival, as you may need to set up scaffolding. Then we could do the same exact corner tower design for each corner. To refresh, move over 3 diagonal blocks from the stone column. Place a concrete block, and now leave 2 grass blocks of spacing in between. Then raise the column to a total of 10 blocks tall. Then let's add 4 additional blocks to the side, and 4 more additional blocks to the other side. Then we can raise the walls to a total of 10 blocks tall. Then we can repeat this pattern 2 more times, 1 for each corner. Step 3. Next was add in the center concrete tower. We'll need 214 white concrete blocks. And again, if concrete is way too difficult to gather and make, you can use diorite blocks as a substitute. First, let's start by moving over a space from the inner stone column. Then let's make a white concrete column. and this will fit in between the stone crossbeam and extends up for a total of 12 blocks. Then we can add 2 more blocks in front and extend this up to a total of 12 blocks as well. Then let's do the same on the other side. Leave a block of spacing. Then we can make a concrete column in between the stone crossbeam for a total of 12 blocks tall. Then add 2 more additional columns in front and extend these up as well. Next, let's move up to the 4th block up. Then place a placeholder at the side. Then one in front. Then remove the placeholder behind it. Then add another block to the side and one in front and remove the placeholder back here. And this will create 2 blocks on a diagonal. Then we can make 2 blocks on a diagonal on the other side. And then once here, we can connect them. Then let's do the same at the 8th block up. Then once completed, we can do the same exact pattern at the 12th block up. Then let's create an identical tower at the back side of the house. To refresh, move over a space. Then make one column that is a total of 12 blocks tall. Then add 2 more blocks in front and extend these up as well. Then we could do the same on the other side, moving over a space and adding in a 12 tall column. Then add 2 more in front and fill up as well. Then we can add 2 diagonal blocks at the 4th block up, as well as 2 on the other side, and connect in the middle. Then let's repeat this pattern at the 8th block up and the 12th block up. Then let's head on the inside and make interior columns. Behind the white concrete wall, move over 5 spaces and place a block. And now leave 4 blocks of spacing. Then raise the column to a total of 12 blocks tall. Then we can leave 4 more blocks of spacing and make another column. Then we can add in 2 more columns that line up with the other concrete wall as well. Step 4. Next was add in the floors and the stairway. We will need 1050 oak planks, 42 oak stairs, and 24 oak doors. At the first floor, we can replace the grass with oak planks. And in this foyer area, make sure to line the oak planks up with the white concrete arches up above. Then we could continue filling in and replacing the grass with oak planks. Then once completed, we can add in the doorways to the corner decks. And we can add in oak planks as well as oak doors in the openings. Then we can repeat the same process for the other 3 corners, adding in doorways in each side, as well as oak planks for the decks. Then once completed, we can make the staircase that leads to the second floor. Now, in between the first set of columns, we can make a 3-wide oak staircase. Also, add upside down stairs to the backside for extra detail. And we can continue the staircase up for a total of 4 treads tall. Then at the back side of the 4th stair, let's add oak planks. Then we could fill across to the other side. And again, don't forget to fill in the front and rear tower sections. Then once completed, we can add in the doorways in each corner, and these will be similar to the ones on the first level. And these doorways will give us access to the corner decks. Then once all the corner decks are assembled, we can add in a staircase that leads up to the 3rd floor. And we can start the next staircase one space in front of the previous one. Then add upside down stairs to the back as well. And before we get too far, double check that there's enough head clearance behind the staircase. That way we don't have an issue walking up and down the stairs. Then we can continue up until there's a total of 4 treads tall. Then we can add in oak planks to the back side of the stairs. And fill across to the other side. Also, we can add in doorways to each corner deck, just like the previous 2 levels. Step 5. Next was add in the windows, railings, and doorways. We will need 260 light blue glass panes, 158 light blue glass blocks, and 14 oak doors. First was adding glass blocks for the front center tower, as well as a door. Then we can add in glass blocks for the next 2 levels above it as well. Then it's adding glass blocks in between the columns in the 3rd level. And we can place 2 oak doors in the center. Then we could continue this pattern for each opening in between the columns of the 3rd level. Now once completed, we can add in glass blocks for the back side of the tower as well. And don't forget an oak door at the bottom, as this will be for the back door. Then we can continue adding in glass blocks for the next 2 levels above it as well. Next was adding glass panes in the openings, and this will be for the windows. Also, when we get to the corners, we can add in a glass railing. Then we could continue adding glass panes for the 2nd level as well as the 3rd level. Step 6. Next up is the roof. We'll need 212 stone brick slabs, 86 stone brick blocks, and 56 light blue glass blocks. First, let's make the side roofs. Start by placing stone brick blocks on top of the corner walls. Then let's add stone brick slabs at the bottom half of the newly installed stone brick blocks. And we can wrap this all the way around. Then let's repeat for the other 3 corners as well. To refresh, add stone brick blocks at the top corner wall. Then add stone brick slabs at the bottom half of the newly installed blocks. And we can wrap this all the way around. Then we can do this 2 more times, 1 for each corner. Next, let's work on the larger center roof. Start by adding in stone brick blocks on top of the wall pattern. Then once completed, let's add in stone brick slabs to the bottom half of the stone brick block. And we can wrap this all the way around. Next was add in a placeholder at the top. Then we can attach a stone brick slab behind it. Then remove the placeholder, and wrap these slabs all the way around the inside of the block. Then lastly, we can fill the center with light blue glass blocks. Step 7. Next is a decorative fence post, and we'll need 136 oak fence posts for this step. We can start by placing oak fence posts around the 4th block up, and wrap this around the stone crossbeam. Then once this is fully completed, we can add another ring of stone brick fence posts at the 8th block up. Now, this is simply decorational, and you don't need to do this. However, I think it adds a nice decorative touch. Step 8. Next we can work on the landscaping. We will need 80 oak leaves for this step. For the front of the house, we can place oak leaves, and these will wrap around the front section of the house. Then once completed, we could do the same for the back side of the house. and this will help add detail to the house. We could also remove the dirt outline. Step 9. Lastly is the interior. And inside this mansion there's a ton of space. And I mean a lot of space. And we have a full downstairs with 4 decks and a back door. And then on the second level there's the same amount of space. Then up on the third level we have another large rooftop area, as well as 2 side decks on either side. And this house is a massive one to fill. And this mansion could be the center base for your entire Minecraft world. Now, I'll leave this completely up to you. However, I'll quickly show you how I did mine, and I hope this will give you ideas on how you can decorate your interior. Thanks for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions about the build or would like to leave some feedback, I would love to hear it. Also, make sure to subscribe, because I create build tutorials just like this one every week. I'll catch you in the next one. Later guys! Want more build tutorials? I have many other playlists that might interest you on my channel. Make sure to check them out.